The rain hammers against the cracked windshield of Marcus Reed's 15-year-old sedan as he sits in the parking lot of Memorial Hospital, engine off, hands gripping the steering wheel like it's the only thing keeping him tethered to earth. The hospital bill in his passenger seat reads $8,473. His bank account balance, checked 3 times in the last hour, reads $216.41. His daughter Sophie sleeps in the back seat, her small chest rising and falling beneath a blanket decorated with faded cartoon characters. She's 6 years old. She has severe asthma. And tonight's emergency room visit, the 3rd this month, has officially broken him. Marcus closes his eyes and tries to remember when life felt manageable. Before his wife left 2 years ago, claiming she couldn't handle the stress of a sick child and a struggling husband. Before he lost his engineering job when the startup he worked for collapsed. Before he became the guy working 3 part-time jobs, custodian at an office building, weekend grocery bagger, overnight security guard at a storage facility, just to keep Sophie's medications coming and the lights on in their studio apartment. He opens his eyes. The rain blurs the world outside. He needs $10,000, not someday. Now. The hospital gave him 2 weeks before they send his account to collections. 2 weeks before his credit gets destroyed and landlords stop returning his calls. Marcus looks at his phone. No missed calls, no texts, no miracles. Then it buzzes. Unknown number. He almost doesn't answer. Spam calls have become background noise in his life. But something, maybe desperation, maybe intuition, makes him swipe to accept. Hello? Is this Marcus Reed? The voice is female, crisp, professional, but carrying an undercurrent of urgency that makes his pulse quicken. Yes, who's this? My name is Vanessa Chen. I'm calling on behalf of Isabel Hartman. She pauses, as if waiting for recognition. When Marcus offers none, she continues. Miss Hartman is the CEO of Hartman Enterprises. She needs your help with something extremely time-sensitive. Marcus frowns. I think you have the wrong number. I don't know any Isabel Hartman. You don't, but you helped her mother 3 weeks ago. Mrs. Eleanor Hartman. You found her disoriented in the parking garage of the Riverside Tower where you worked nights as a custodian. You stayed with her until her daughter arrived. You gave her your jacket because she was cold. The memory surfaces. An elderly woman, confused and frightened, sitting on the concrete floor near the elevators. Marcus had been finishing his shift when he found her. He'd called building security, then sat with her, talking gently until a panicked younger woman in an expensive coat arrived, thanking him over and over through tears. I remember, Marcus says slowly. Is Mrs. Hartman okay? She's fine, thanks to you. And Miss Hartman hasn't forgotten your kindness, which is why I'm calling now. She needs a favor, an unusual one, and she's willing to compensate you generously. Marcus's skepticism flares. What kind of favor? Vanessa's voice lowers. She needs someone to accompany her to a family event tonight. Someone to pose as her husband, just for a few hours. It's complicated, but I can explain more if you're willing to meet with her. She's offering $10,000. The number lands like a fist to his chest. $10,000. Exactly what he needs. Exactly what would solve everything, at least for now. Is this legal? Marcus asks, his voice hoarse. Completely. It's simply a role. You'd attend an event, stay by her side, and leave. No paperwork, no contracts beyond a confidentiality agreement. Cash payment tonight. Marcus glances at Sophie in the rearview mirror, her small face peaceful in sleep, innocent of the battles he fights every day just to keep her safe. Why me? He asks. Because you were kind to her mother when you had no reason to be. Miss Hartman needs someone trustworthy, someone who won't ask too many questions or make demands later. Someone real. Vanessa pauses. Can you meet her in 30 minutes? The Riverside Tower, 20th floor. She'll explain everything. Marcus should say no. This sounds absurd, possibly dangerous, definitely too good to be true. But the hospital bill sits next to him like a prison sentence, and Sophie's inhaler prescription renewal is due in 4 days. I'll be there, he says. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. 28 minutes later, Marcus stands in the marble lobby of the Riverside Tower, the same building where he mops floors and empties trash bins after midnight. But now, in the evening, with the lobby lit by crystal chandeliers and filled with people in tailored suits, he feels like an imposter. He's wearing his only decent outfit, khaki pants and a button-down shirt he reserves for parent-teacher conferences. His shoes are old but clean. He's left Sophie with Mrs. Park, his elderly neighbor who watches her when his shifts overlap. Mrs. Park asked no questions, just smiled and welcomed Sophie with warm cookies. Vanessa Chen meets him at the elevators. She's younger than her voice suggested, maybe 30, wearing a charcoal suit and an expression of controlled urgency. She shakes his hand briefly. Thank you for coming. Miss Hartman is grateful. They ride the elevator in silence. Marcus watches the floor numbers climb, his stomach twisting. When they reach the 20th floor, the doors open to a corridor of frosted glass and polished wood. Vanessa leads him to a corner office where the entire wall is made of windows, overlooking the city, rain streaking down like tears against the glowing skyline. And there, standing with her back to him, is Isabel Hartman. She turns when she hears them enter. Marcus's first thought is that she looks exhausted, not in the way tired people look after a long day, but in the bone-deep way that comes from carrying weight no one else can see. She's in her early 30s, dressed in a black dress that's elegant but severe, her dark hair pulled back tightly. Her eyes, sharp and intelligent, scan him quickly, assessing. Mr. Reed, she says, her voice steady but tight. Thank you for coming. Call me Marcus. She nods once. Vanessa exits quietly, closing the door behind her. Isabel gestures to the chairs near her desk. Marcus sits. She remains standing, arms crossed, as if sitting would require a vulnerability she can't afford. I'll be direct, she begins. Tonight is my father's 70th birthday party. It's being held at our family estate. The entire extended family will be there, along with business associates and members of the board of our company. She pauses, her jaw tightening. My father has decided that tonight is when he'll announce that my younger brother Trevor will be taking over as CEO of Hartman Enterprises. Marcus waits, unsure what this has to do with him. Isabel continues, her voice hardening. I built that company with my father. I've been acting CEO for 3 years while he's been in semi-retirement. But Trevor is his golden child, charismatic, charming, and utterly unqualified. He'll run the company into the ground within a year, and thousands of employees will lose their jobs. Why would your father do that? Marcus asks. Because he believes I'm not stable enough to lead long term. Her voice cracks slightly. Because 2 years ago my husband died, and my father has decided that grief makes me weak. The pain in her eyes is so raw that Marcus looks away, giving her a moment. I'm sorry, he says quietly. She takes a breath, composing herself. My father made it clear last week, if I show up tonight alone, still mourning, still without a partner, he'll see it as proof I can't move forward, that I'm stuck. But if I arrive with someone who shows the family I've begun to rebuild my life, he might reconsider. So you need someone to pretend to be your husband, Marcus says. Not my husband, my new partner, someone I'm dating seriously, someone who makes it clear I'm not the broken widow they all think I am. She finally sits, leaning forward, her hands clasped tightly. I can't bring someone from my world. Everyone knows everyone. It would be exposed immediately. I need someone outside that circle, someone real. Why not hire an actor? Because actors perform. I need someone who can simply be, someone who won't oversell it, someone who has nothing to gain by betraying my trust later. She looks at him directly. You were kind to my mother when you didn't have to be. Vanessa had you investigated. You're a single father. You work multiple jobs. You're honest. You're exactly what I need. Marcus leans back, processing. And you'll pay me $10,000 to stand next to you for a few hours. Yes, cash, tonight, after the event. It sounds too easy, but Marcus knows nothing in life is ever truly easy. What do I have to do exactly? Isabel stands and walks to the window, looking out at the rain. Arrive with me. Stay by my side. Be warm but not overly affectionate. If anyone asks, we met through a mutual friend a few months ago. We've been taking things slowly. You're in consulting. She turns back to him. And if my father or Trevor challenges you, don't back down. Don't let them intimidate you. Marcus thinks about Sophie, about the hospital bill, about the future he's trying desperately to build for her, with nothing but duct tape and willpower. Okay, he says, I'll do it. Isabel's shoulders drop slightly, relief flickering across her face. Thank you. She walks to her desk and pulls out a garment bag. You'll need to change. I had Vanessa estimate your size. She hands it to him. Inside is a tailored suit, charcoal gray, with a crisp white shirt and a silk tie. It looks expensive, the kind of thing Marcus has never worn. The bathroom is through that door, she says, gesturing. Marcus takes the garment bag and steps into the adjacent bathroom. It's larger than his entire studio apartment. Marble counters, soft lighting, the faint scent of expensive soap. He changes quickly, the fabric fitting him better than he expected. When he looks in the mirror, he barely recognizes himself. He looks like someone who belongs in boardrooms, someone successful, someone pretending to be more than he is. When he returns to the office, Isabel's expression shifts. She looks at him for a long moment, something unreadable in her eyes. You clean up well, she says softly. Thanks. He tugs at the collar. I feel like a fraud. You're not. You're helping me. She picks up her coat, then hesitates. Marcus, I need to ask you something before we go. Okay. If we're going to convince anyone, we need to seem comfortable with each other. That means small touches, hand-holding, maybe a kiss on the cheek. Are you okay with that? Marcus's pulse spikes slightly. Yeah, I can do that. Isabel nods, but something flickers in her expression. Fear, maybe. Or vulnerability. I haven't been close to anyone since my husband died, she admits quietly. So if I seem stiff, that's why. Marcus steps closer, his voice gentle. We'll figure it out as we go. Just follow my lead if you need to. She looks at him, surprised by his kindness. Thank you. They leave the office together. In the elevator, the silence between them is thick with anticipation. Marcus watches Isabel's reflection in the polished metal doors. She's gripping her clutch tightly, her breathing controlled but shallow. Are you okay? He asks. She doesn't answer immediately. Then, softly, I'm terrified. Marcus reaches over and gently takes her hand. Her fingers are cold, trembling slightly. She doesn't pull away. We'll get through this, he says. She looks down at their joined hands, then up at him. And for the first time, she smiles. Small, fragile, but real. The car waiting for them outside is a sleek black sedan with a driver who nods respectfully as they slide into the back seat. The leather interior smells like wealth and power, things Marcus has only ever observed from a distance. As the car pulls into traffic, Isabel stares out the window, her hand still in his. "Tell me about your daughter," she says suddenly. Marcus is surprised. "Sophie, she's 6. She has asthma, which is why I work so much. Medical bills." "What does she like?" "Drawing. She draws these elaborate pictures of castles and dragons. She wants to be an artist when she grows up." Isabel's expression softens. "She sounds wonderful." "She is. She's everything." Marcus's throat tightens. "I'm doing this for her. The money, I mean." "I know." Isabel squeezes his hand. "And I'm grateful." They drive in silence for a while, the city lights blurring past. Then Isabel speaks again, her voice barely above a whisper. "My husband's name was David. He was an architect. He died in a car accident on his way to meet me for dinner. I was late to the restaurant because of a board meeting. By the time I got there, the police were calling me." Her voice breaks. "I never got to say goodbye." Marcus doesn't know what to say, so he just holds her hand tighter. "My father thinks I should be over it by now," she continues. "He thinks grief has an expiration date, but I wake up every morning and the first thought I have is that David is gone. And the second thought is that I have to keep pretending I'm okay, because if I don't, I lose everything we built together." "You're not pretending tonight," Marcus says gently. "You're fighting for what's yours." She looks at him, her eyes glistening. "Yes, I am." The car begins to slow. They've arrived at the estate, a sprawling mansion lit up like a palace, with luxury cars lining the circular driveway and valets rushing to open doors. Isabel takes a deep breath, straightening her shoulders. The vulnerability vanishes, replaced by the mask of the composed CEO. But before they exit the car, she turns to Marcus one last time. "I'll pay you $10,000 to pretend to be my husband tonight," she says, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. Marcus nods. "I agreed." "Thank you." Then, almost as an afterthought, she adds, "And Marcus, if at any point tonight I kiss you, please don't be alarmed. It might be necessary." Marcus's heart skips. Understood. The driver opens the door. Isabel steps out first, her head held high. Marcus follows, and as he does, he feels the weight of 100 eyes turning toward them. The rain has stopped, leaving the night air cool and charged. Isabel takes his arm, her touch firm but trembling, and together they walk toward the lion's den. The entrance hall of the Hartman estate feels more like a museum than a home. Marble floors stretch endlessly beneath Marcus's feet, reflecting the light from 3 massive chandeliers that hang like frozen waterfalls. Oil paintings of stern-faced ancestors line the walls, their eyes seeming to judge everyone who passes beneath them. A grand staircase curves upward, its banister polished to a mirror shine. Marcus has cleaned buildings like this. He's never been a guest in one. Isabel's grip on his arm tightens as they step inside. A server immediately approaches with champagne flutes on a silver tray. She takes one. Marcus does too, though he has no intention of drinking it. He needs his mind sharp tonight. "Remember," Isabel whispers, her lips barely moving, "we met through a mutual friend, Sarah Hendricks. She's a real person, a college friend who moved to Seattle. No one here will call her to verify." Marcus nods. "Got it. You're in business consulting. You work with mid-sized companies on operational efficiency. Keep it vague if anyone presses." "Okay." "And Marcus," she looks up at him, her dark eyes serious, "my father will try to intimidate you. Don't let him." Before Marcus can respond, a booming voice cuts through the ambient chatter. "Isabel!" They both turn. Approaching them is a man who can only be Richard Hartman. He's tall, broad-shouldered despite his age, with thick silver hair swept back and the kind of commanding presence that makes rooms go quiet. His tuxedo is immaculate, his smile is warm, but his eyes are calculating, already assessing Marcus like a general sizing up an opponent. Behind him trails a younger man, late 20s, with the same strong jawline but softer features, Trevor. He's handsome in an effortless way, his tuxedo worn with casual confidence, a champagne flute already half empty in his hand. "Father," Isabel says, her voice carefully neutral. She leans up and kisses his cheek. "Happy birthday." "Thank you, sweetheart." Richard's eyes slide to Marcus. "And who is this?" Isabel takes a breath. Marcus feels her steel herself. "This is Marcus Reed. Marcus, my father, Richard Hartman." Marcus extends his hand. Richard's handshake is exactly what Marcus expected. Firm to the point of aggressive, a dominance play wrapped in civility. "Marcus," Richard says, his voice friendly but his eyes sharp. "I don't believe we've met." "We haven't, sir. It's a pleasure." "And what brings you to our little family gathering?" Isabel answers before Marcus can. "Marcus is my partner. We've been seeing each other for a few months now." The word partner hangs in the air like a grenade. Richard's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. Surprise, maybe, or displeasure. Trevor steps forward, extending his hand to Marcus with an easy smile. "Well, this is news. I'm Trevor, the better-looking brother." Marcus shakes his hand. Trevor's grip is loose, careless. "Nice to meet you." "So, Marcus," Richard says, his tone shifting to interrogation mode, "what do you do?" "I'm a business consultant. I work with companies on operational efficiency." "Fascinating. Which firm?" Marcus keeps his expression steady. "I'm independent. Smaller client base. More personalized attention." "I see." Richard's smile doesn't reach his eyes. "And how did you meet my daughter?" "Through a mutual friend, Sarah Hendricks." "Sarah," Richard repeats as if filing the name away. "From Isabel's college days?" "Yes." Richard studies Marcus for a long moment. The silence stretches uncomfortably. Marcus doesn't flinch. He's faced worse than rich men's stares. He's faced eviction notices and empty bank accounts and holding his daughter while she struggles to breathe. Finally, Richard turns to Isabel. "Well, this is certainly unexpected." "Is it?" Isabel's voice is cool. "You've been telling me for 2 years to move on." "I have. I'm glad you're finally listening." But his tone suggests he's anything but glad. He looks at Marcus again. "You'll have to excuse me. I have other guests to greet. But we'll talk more later, Marcus. I'd love to hear about your work." It's not an invitation. It's a promise of further interrogation. Richard walks away, Trevor following like a shadow. Once they're out of earshot, Isabel exhales slowly. "That went better than I expected," she murmurs. "Really?" Marcus raises an eyebrow. "Because I feel like I just got evaluated for purchase." A ghost of a smile crosses her face. "You held your own. That's more than most people manage with my father." They move deeper into the party. The main ballroom is stunning, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking gardens lit by tiny white lights. A string quartet plays softly in one corner. Servers circulate with hors d'oeuvres that look like small pieces of art. Everyone here moves with the easy confidence of people who've never worried about money. Marcus spots net worth in every direction. Diamond earrings that could pay his rent for a year. Watches that cost more than his car. Casual conversations about summer homes in the Hamptons and ski trips to Aspen. He feels like he's performing on a stage where everyone else was born knowing their lines. Isabel introduces him to a blur of faces. Her Aunt Margaret, who looks at Marcus like he's a curiosity in a zoo. Her cousin James, who barely acknowledges him before returning to his phone. A board member named Gerald, who asks pointed questions about Marcus's business philosophy that feel designed to expose him as a fraud. Marcus answers carefully, pulling from the business books he's read over the years, the podcasts he's listened to during his long commutes between jobs. He's not stupid, he's just poor. There's a difference. After an hour, Isabel guides him toward a quieter corner near the windows. "You're doing great," she says softly. "I feel like I'm drowning." "You're not. You're swimming. There's a difference." She glances around, making sure no one is close enough to overhear. "I need to circulate more, talk to the board members, but stay close, okay?" Marcus nods. As Isabel moves toward a group of older men in expensive suits, Marcus finds himself alone for the first time all evening. He takes a moment to breathe, to ground himself. "So," Marcus turns. Trevor is standing beside him, champagne flute in hand, an amused smile on his face. "You're the mysterious boyfriend," Trevor says. "Apparently." Interesting timing, right before Dad's big announcement. Marcus keeps his expression neutral. "Is it?" Trevor chuckles. "Come on, you seem like a smart guy. You know what's happening here. Dad's about to hand me the company. Isabel's trying to prove she's stable enough to deserve it instead, and you're her prop. That's a pretty cynical view." "It's an accurate one." Trevor takes a sip of champagne. "Look, I don't blame you. She's probably paying you well. Hell, I'd do the same thing if I were in your position. But just so you know, it won't work. Dad's already made his decision." Marcus looks at Trevor carefully. He sees the arrogance, the entitlement, the casual cruelty of someone who's never had to fight for anything. "Maybe," Marcus says quietly, "or maybe your father will surprise you." Trevor's smile falters slightly. "You don't know my father." "Neither do you, apparently." For a moment, Trevor's mask slips, and Marcus sees something raw beneath it. Insecurity, maybe. Or fear that he's not actually good enough. Then Trevor's smile returns, harder this time. "Enjoy the party, Marcus, while it lasts." He walks away, leaving Marcus alone again. Marcus scans the room, finding Isabel. She's talking animatedly with the board members, her hands gesturing gracefully, her posture confident. But Marcus can see the tension in her shoulders, the way her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes. She's performing too, just like him. A server passes with a tray of food. Marcus realizes he hasn't eaten since lunch, a hastily consumed sandwich between his afternoon and evening shifts. He takes a small piece of something that turns out to be salmon on a crisp of some kind. It's delicious, and he feels guilty for enjoying it. While Sophie is home eating the macaroni and cheese he left for Mrs. Park to heat up. "You look lost." Marcus turns to find an elderly woman standing beside him. She's small, with snow-white hair, swept into an elegant updo, wearing a deep purple gown and pearls. Her eyes are sharp but kind. "Just taking it all in," Marcus says politely. "I'm Eleanor, Isabel's mother." Recognition clicks. "Mrs. Hartman, I'm Marcus." Her face lights up. "Marcus, you're the young man from the parking garage." "Yes, ma'am." She reaches out and squeezes his hand. Her fingers are warm, fragile feeling, but strong in their grip. "I never properly thanked you. I was so confused that night. I have early-stage dementia, you see. Sometimes I get turned around. You were very kind to me." "Anyone would have done the same." "No," Eleanor says firmly. "They wouldn't. Most people would have called security and moved on. You sat with me. You talked to me like I was a person, not a problem to be solved." She studies his face. "Isabel told me she invited you tonight. I'm glad." Marcus doesn't know what to say to that. Eleanor glances toward her daughter, still engaged with the board members. "She hasn't been herself since David died. I watch her work herself to exhaustion, trying to prove she's strong enough. But strength isn't about never falling apart. It's about getting back up after you do." She looks at Marcus meaningfully. She needs someone who understands that. Mrs. Hartman, I should be honest with you. She holds up a hand. I know why you're here, Marcus. I'm old, not senile. Not yet, anyway. She smiles gently. But I also know my daughter, and I know she wouldn't have brought someone here unless she trusted them. That matters more than you might think. Before Marcus can respond, Eleanor pats his arm and drifts away into the crowd, leaving him with more questions than answers. The evening continues its strange choreography. Dinner is served in an adjacent dining room at a table long enough to seat 40 people. Marcus finds himself positioned between Isabel and her cousin, a woman named Patricia who spends the entire meal talking about her recent renovation project in Tuscany. Isabel's hand finds his under the table during the main course. She doesn't look at him, continuing her conversation with the board member on her other side, but her fingers lace through his and squeeze gently. It's such a small gesture, but it grounds him. After dinner, guests return to the ballroom for dessert and dancing. The string quartet has been replaced by a jazz ensemble. Couples begin filling the dance floor. Richard Hartman takes the microphone. The room quiets. Thank you all for being here tonight, Richard begins, his voice carrying easily across the space. 70 years is a milestone, and I'm grateful to celebrate it with the people who matter most. He speaks about family, about legacy, about the company he built from nothing. Marcus watches Isabel's face. She's perfectly composed, but her jaw is tight. Which brings me to an important announcement, Richard continues. Isabel's hand finds Marcus's again. Her palm is damp with nervous sweat. As many of you know, I've been preparing for the next generation to take the helm of Hartman Enterprises, and tonight I want to publicly acknowledge... Dad, wait. Everyone turns. Trevor has stepped forward, his expression unreadable. Richard frowns. Trevor, this isn't the time. No, it is. Trevor looks at Isabel, something complicated in his eyes. Before you make your announcement, there's something you should know. Something I should have told you a long time ago. The room is dead silent. Trevor takes a breath. I don't want the company. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Richard's face darkens. Trevor, we've discussed this. No, you've decided. You never asked what I wanted. Trevor's voice is steady now, almost relieved. I'm not Dad. I'm not Isabel. I don't have your vision or her drive. I'd be terrible as CEO, and we both know it. I've been going along with this because I thought it was what you wanted, but it's not fair to Isabel. It's not fair to the company, and it's not fair to me. Richard looks like he's been slapped. Trevor turns to Isabel. The company should be yours. It always should have been. I'm sorry I didn't say this sooner. Isabel stares at her brother, shock written across her face. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. Richard recovers quickly, his expression hardening. We'll discuss this privately. Now is not the time. No, Dad, I'm done discussing it privately. That's how you control the narrative. Trevor looks at the assembled guests. Isabel is the rightful CEO of Hartman Enterprises, and if you can't see that, then maybe you're not the man I thought you were. He walks out of the ballroom. The crowd erupts in whispers. Richard's face is a mask of controlled fury. He looks at Isabel, then at Marcus, as if somehow this is all Marcus's fault. Then he sets down the microphone and follows Trevor out. Isabel stands frozen, her hand still gripping Marcus's. Did that just happen? She whispers. Yeah, Marcus says quietly. It did. She turns to him, her eyes wide and glassy. I need to get out of here, please. Marcus doesn't hesitate. He guides her through the crowd, ignoring the stares and whispered questions. They slip through a side door and find themselves in a quiet hallway, lined with family portraits. Isabel leans against the wall, her breathing shallow and quick. "Hey," Marcus says gently, "look at me." She does. Her carefully constructed composure is crumbling. "Breathe," he says. "Just breathe." She tries, but her breath catches. "I can't believe Trevor did that. I can't believe—" Her voice breaks. Without thinking, Marcus pulls her into his arms. She stiffens for a moment, then collapses against him, her forehead pressing against his chest. He can feel her trembling, feel the weight of everything she's been holding. "It's okay," he murmurs. "You're okay." "I'm not," she whispers. "I'm so tired, Marcus. I'm so tired of fighting." "I know." They stand like that for a long moment, Marcus holding her while she falls apart in a way she probably hasn't allowed herself in years. He doesn't try to fix it, he just holds her. Eventually, her breathing steadies. She pulls back slightly, looking up at him. Her mascara is smudged. Her perfectly styled hair has come slightly loose. She's never looked more real. "I'm sorry," she says, her voice hoarse. "You didn't sign up for this." "Actually, I kind of did." A broken laugh escapes her. "Not this, not a family meltdown. Families are complicated, trust me, I know." She studies his face, really looks at him for the first time all night. "You're a good man, Marcus Reed." "I'm just trying to get by." "No, you're more than that." Her hand comes up hesitantly and touches his cheek. "Thank you for being here, for being real in the middle of all this performance." Marcus's heart is beating faster than it should. "You're welcome." They're standing very close. Too close for employer and employee. Too close for strangers playing pretend. Isabel's eyes drop to his lips. "Marcus," she whispers, "I need to tell you something." "Okay." "When I asked you to do this tonight, I thought it would be simple. A transaction. You'd play a role, I'd pay you, and we'd both walk away." Her voice trembles. "But you're not what I expected." "What did you expect?" "Someone who'd go through the motions, someone detached." She looks up at him. "But you're here, truly here, and I don't know what to do with that." Marcus should step back. He should remind her that this is business, that in a few hours he'll take his money and go back to his real life, and she'll go back to hers. But he doesn't step back. "Isabel, I need to kiss you," she says suddenly. "Not for show, not for anyone watching, just because I need to know if this feels as real as I think it does." Marcus's breath catches. "Are you sure?" "No, but I'm going to do it anyway." She rises on her toes and presses her lips to his. The kiss is nothing like Marcus imagined. It's not tentative or performative. It's desperate and searching, like she's trying to find something she lost a long time ago. Her hands slide up to his neck, pulling him closer. Marcus responds instinctively, his arms tightening around her waist, his own need rising to meet hers. For a moment, they're not a billionaire and a custodian. They're not employer and employee. They're just two people who've been alone for too long, finding unexpected comfort in each other's arms. When they finally break apart, both of them are breathing hard. Isabel's eyes are wide, her lips slightly parted. "Oh," she whispers. "Yeah," Marcus agrees, his voice rough. "Oh, that was real." She nods slowly. "Very real." They stand there, foreheads nearly touching, neither quite ready to let go. "Marcus," she says quietly, "what are we doing?" "I don't know." "We shouldn't—" "I know." But neither of them moves away. The sound of footsteps makes them spring apart. A server rounds the corner, pausing when he sees them. "Excuse me, Miss Hartman, your father is asking for you." Isabel composes herself quickly, smoothing her dress, touching her hair. The CEO mask slides back into place, but when she looks at Marcus, there's something new in her eyes, something vulnerable and terrified and hopeful all at once. "We should go back," she says. "Should we?" She smiles, sad but genuine. No, but we have to. Marcus takes her hand. This time, it's not for show. It's because he wants to. They return to the ballroom together. The party has fractured into smaller conversations, the earlier drama creating a charged atmosphere. Richard stands with a group of board members, his expression stormy. Trevor is nowhere to be seen. Eleanor approaches them, her eyes moving between Isabel and Marcus with knowing warmth. There you are, darling. Your father wants to speak with you in his study. Isabel's grip on Marcus's hand tightens. Is Marcus invited? Eleanor smiles. I believe he should be. After all, he's part of your life now, isn't he? The way she says it makes Marcus wonder how much Eleanor sees that others don't. They follow Eleanor through the mansion to a wood-paneled study that smells of leather and old books. Richard stands by the fireplace, a glass of scotch in his hand. When they enter, he looks up, his expression unreadable. Sit, he says. It's not a request. Isabel sits on the leather couch. Marcus sits beside her, still holding her hand. Richard studies them for a long moment. Then he speaks. Trevor just told me he's been miserable for years, that he's been hiding it because he thought it was what I wanted. His voice is rough. How did I not see that? Isabel's expression softens slightly. Because you saw what you wanted to see, Dad. Just like you've been doing with me. Richard winces. Isabel, no, let me finish. Her voice is steady now, stronger. You've been treating me like I'm broken since David died, like grief disqualifies me from leadership. But I've been running that company while grieving. I've been managing every crisis, every decision, every challenge, and I've done it well. I know you have. Then why Trevor? Why not me? Richard takes a long drink of scotch. Because I was afraid. Afraid that if I put the full weight of the company on your shoulders, while you were still healing, it would destroy you, the same way it almost destroyed me after your mother's diagnosis. Isabel goes very still. You never told me that. I didn't want to burden you. Richard looks at her with something that might be regret. But Trevor's right. I've been wrong. The company is yours, Isabel. It always was. Tears slip down Isabel's cheeks. Dad, I'm sorry for not trusting you, for not seeing how strong you've been. He looks at Marcus, and for not seeing that you were moving forward in your own way. Isabel wipes her eyes. Thank you. Richard nods, then clears his throat. So, Marcus, tell me about yourself. The real story, not the consulting cover. Marcus tenses. Isabel turns to him, panic flickering across her face. But Marcus looks at Richard and decides that maybe, just maybe, honesty is worth the risk. I'm a custodian, he says quietly. I work night shifts at the Riverside Tower. I also bag groceries on weekends and do security at a storage facility. I have a 6-year-old daughter with severe asthma. I need 3 jobs to keep her healthy and a roof over our heads. Richard's eyebrows rise, but he doesn't look angry, just surprised. And Isabel hired you to be here tonight? Yes, sir. For how much? Marcus glances at Isabel. She nods slightly, giving permission. $10,000. Richard actually smiles. That's my daughter, always making strategic investments. He looks at Isabel. But this doesn't look like a business transaction to me. Isabel blushes, actually blushes. It wasn't supposed to be. But she looks at Marcus, something tender in her eyes. But he's more than I expected. Richard studies them both carefully. Then he raises his glass. Well, this has been the most interesting birthday I've had in years. He takes a sip, then adds, Marcus, you'll stay for the rest of the evening, and Isabel, we'll make the announcement about the CEO transition tomorrow, properly. Isabel stands, crosses to her father, and hugs him tightly. Marcus sees Richard's face over her shoulder, sees the love and regret there. When they leave the study, Isabel is lighter somehow, as if a weight she's carried for years has finally lifted. In the hallway, she turns to Marcus. "You didn't have to tell him the truth." "Yes, I did. If this," he gestures between them, "is going to be anything more than tonight, it needs to start with honesty." Her breath catches. Is it going to be more than tonight? Marcus reaches up and gently tucks a strand of hair behind her ear. "I don't know, but I'd like to find out." She smiles, real and warm and full of possibility. "So would I." They return to the party hand in hand. This time, when people look at them, Marcus doesn't feel like a fraud. He feels like someone who belongs exactly where he is, because for the first time in a long time, he's not just surviving, he's living. The morning sun cuts through the blinds of Marcus's studio apartment in harsh lines, exposing every crack in the ceiling, every stain on the worn carpet. He wakes on the pull-out couch, Sophie curled against his side, her small hand clutching his shirt even in sleep. For a moment, he forgets. Then it all rushes back. The estate, the party, Isabel's kiss, the envelope of cash sitting on his kitchen counter, still unopened. $10,000. He should feel relieved, triumphant even. He can pay the hospital bill, buy Sophie's medications for months, maybe even fix the transmission in his car that's been grinding ominously for weeks. But all he feels is hollow, because last night stopped being about money somewhere between holding Isabel's trembling hand and feeling her lips against his, somewhere between watching her armor crack and seeing the woman underneath, brilliant and wounded and achingly lonely. Sophie stirs, her eyes fluttering open. "Daddy? Hey, baby girl?" Marcus smooths her hair. "How are you feeling?" "Okay." She coughs slightly, the sound rattling in her small chest. "Did you have fun at the fancy party?" Marcus thinks about how to answer that. "Yeah, I did." "Did you meet a princess?" He smiles despite himself. "Something like that." Sophie sits up, reaching for her inhaler on the side table. Marcus helps her, counting her breaths, watching her chest expand and contract. This is his reality. Hospital bills and inhalers and studio apartments where the heating barely works, not mansions and champagne and women who own buildings. His phone buzzes. Unknown number. His heart stutters. He answers. "Marcus?" Isabel's voice sounds different in daylight, less certain, more vulnerable. "Did I wake you?" "No, I was up." "Good. I mean, not good that you were up early. Just..." She takes a breath. "I'm not usually this awkward." "You're doing fine." A pause. "Can I see you today? I know it's Sunday and you probably have plans with Sophie, but I thought maybe..." "Yes," Marcus says before she can finish. "When?" "Lunch. There's a cafe near the park on Riverside. Nothing fancy, just us." "Okay, noon? Perfect." After they hang up, Marcus sits with the phone in his hand, Sophie watching him with curious brown eyes. "Who was that?" "A friend." "The princess?" Marcus laughs. "Yeah, Bug, the princess." The cafe is exactly as Isabel described. Small, cozy, with mismatched chairs and local art on the walls. Nothing like the world she inhabits. Marcus arrives early, Sophie's hand in his. He'd asked Mrs. Park to watch her, but Sophie had begged to come along and he couldn't say no. Isabel is already there, sitting at a corner table. She's wearing jeans and a simple sweater, her hair down and loose around her shoulders. No makeup, no armor. She looks younger, more real. When she sees Sophie, her expression melts into something soft. "You must be Sophie," Isabel says gently. Sophie hides behind Marcus's leg, suddenly shy. "It's okay," Marcus murmurs. "This is Isabel. She's very nice." Isabel crouches down to Sophie's level. "I heard you like to draw." Sophie peeks out. How did you know? Your dad told me. I'd love to see your pictures sometime, if that's okay. Sophie considers this, then nods solemnly. Okay. They order lunch. Sophie gets grilled cheese and immediately focuses on coloring the paper placemat with crayons the server brought. Marcus and Isabel sit across from each other, the daylight making everything feel exposed and honest. Thank you for coming, Isabel says quietly. Of course. Last night was... She stops, searching for words. I didn't expect it to feel so real. Neither did I. She wraps her hands around her coffee mug. My father called this morning. He's announcing the CEO transition tomorrow, officially, and he apologized again for everything. That's good. It is. She looks up at him. Trevor called too. He's actually relieved. He said he's been pretending for so long he forgot what he actually wanted. He's thinking about teaching, history. It was his passion in college. Marcus smiles. That's brave. Yeah? She takes a breath. Marcus, about the money. It's fine. You paid me what you promised. That's not what I mean. She leans forward. I want to give you more. Marcus stiffens. Isabel, please just hear me out. That 10,000, it helps you short term. But what about long term? What about Sophie's medical bills next month? What about when your car finally dies? What about when you get sick and can't work? Her eyes are intense, pleading. I can help, really help. Set up a trust for Sophie's education and medical care. Get you into a better apartment. Help you... Stop. Marcus's voice is gentle but firm. Just stop. She looks hurt. Why? I have the resources. I want to help. I know you do. But that's not what I need from you. Then what do you need? Marcus reaches across the table and takes her hand. I need you to see me as an equal, not a project, not someone to rescue. Isabel's eyes fill with tears. I don't see you that way. You're offering to solve all my problems with money. That's exactly how you see me. That's not fair. Isn't it? Marcus keeps his voice soft. You're used to fixing things with resources. It's how you operate. But some things can't be fixed that way. She pulls her hand back, hurt flashing across her face. So what then? We just pretend last night didn't happen. No, we figure out what this is without your money being part of it. But your life is hard, Marcus. I see it. I feel it. Why won't you let me make it easier? Because I need to know you want me, not the chance to save me. The words hang between them, raw and honest. Isabel stares at him, something breaking open in her expression. You think I pity you, don't you? No. Her voice cracks. I'm terrified of you. Marcus goes still. What? You scare me, Marcus, because you don't need me. Everyone in my life needs something from me. My money, my connections, my name. But you don't. You'd survive without me. You have been surviving. And that terrifies me because it means if you choose to be with me, it's actually about me, not what I can give you. Tears spill down her cheeks. And I don't know if I'm enough when you take away everything else. The vulnerability in her words hits Marcus like a fist to the chest. Sophie looks up from her coloring, noticing Isabel's tears. She slides out of her chair and walks over, tugging on Isabel's sleeve. Don't cry, Sophie says softly. My daddy says it's okay to be sad, but you don't have to be sad alone. Isabel looks down at this small girl, offering comfort with the simple wisdom of children. She makes a sound between a laugh and a sob, reaching out to gently touch Sophie's hair. Thank you, sweetheart. Sophie climbs into the booth beside Isabel and leans against her, just sits there, offering her presence like it's the most natural thing in the world. Marcus watches them, his throat tight. You're enough, he says quietly. You've always been enough. Isabel meets his eyes over Sophie's head. How do you know? Because I see you, the real you, the one who paces when she's nervous and smudges her mascara when she cries, the one who's terrified she's not strong enough but shows up anyway. He leans forward. That's the person I want to know. Not the CEO, not the billionaire, just Isabel. She closes her eyes, fresh tears sliding down. I don't know how to do this. Be with someone without fixing everything. It's how I show love. Then we'll learn together. She opens her eyes. What if I mess this up? Then we'll figure it out. That's what people do. Sophie tugs on Isabel's sleeve again. Are you my daddy's girlfriend now? Isabel laughs, surprised. She looks at Marcus, question in her eyes. Marcus smiles. I don't know, are you? I'd like to be, Isabel says softly. If you'll have me, mess and all. I will, if you'll have me. 3 jobs and medical bills and all. Deal. Sophie grins. Good, because you're really pretty and you smell nice. They all laugh, the tension breaking like a fever, but Marcus knows this isn't the end of the complications. Real life doesn't resolve that easily. 3 days later, reality hits harder than Marcus expected. His manager at the Riverside Tower calls him into the office. Marcus goes in after his shift, still wearing his custodian uniform, smelling of cleaning supplies and floor wax. Marcus, we need to talk. His manager, Bill, looks uncomfortable. There's been a complaint. Marcus's stomach drops. About what? About you socializing with building tenants, specifically Miss Hartman. The words feel like a punch. I wasn't socializing during work hours. Someone saw you two at that cafe on Sunday, and apparently people at her family event noticed you looked familiar. They figured out you work here. Bill sighs. Look, I don't care who you spend time with on your own time, but the building management does. They have policies about fraternization with tenants. Fraternization? I'm not. Marcus, she's a billionaire. You're a custodian. They see it as inappropriate, a liability. The words, you're a custodian, land like a slap. So what are you saying? I'm saying you need to choose. Either you stop seeing Miss Hartman or you need to find another job. Marcus feels the floor drop out from under him. This job is his steadiest income. The night shift pays more than the others. Losing it would mean falling behind on rent, on Sophie's medications, on everything. I need this job, Bill. I know you do. That's why I'm giving you the heads up. Make the right choice. Marcus walks out of the office in a daze. He sits in his car in the parking garage, the same garage where he found Eleanor Hartman weeks ago, and tries to breathe through the panic. He could call Isabel. She'd fix this with a phone call. One conversation and he'd probably have his job back, maybe even a promotion. But that would prove her point, that she can solve everything with money and influence, that he needs her resources more than he needs her, and it would prove his point too, that they're not equals, that the world will never let them be. His phone rings. Isabel. He stares at it, torn, then answers. Hey, Marcus, what's wrong? I can hear it in your voice. Of course she can. She sees too much. I just lost my job, or I will if I don't stop seeing you. Silence on the other end. Then, tightly, who said that? It doesn't matter. It matters to me. Marcus, give me 10 minutes and I'll… No. His voice is firmer than he intends. Don't fix this. But I can… I know you can. But then what? Every time we face a problem, you throw money at it. Every time someone tries to separate us, you use your influence. He closes his eyes. That's not a relationship, Isabel. That's dependency. So what do you want me to do? Nothing. I want you to trust that I can handle this. By losing your job, by struggling more than you already are? If that's what it takes, yes. She makes a frustrated sound. That's not noble, Marcus. That's just stubborn. Maybe, but it's my choice to make. Another silence. Then, quietly, are you breaking up with me? The question hits him hard. No, I'm asking you to let me be a man who takes care of himself, even if it's messy. This is killing me, she whispers, watching you suffer when I could help. I know, but you can't save me, Isabel. You can only be with me. He hears her breath catch. What if being with you means watching you struggle? Then you watch, and you trust I'll figure it out. The same way I'm trusting you to not use your money to control our relationship. A long pause. Then, okay, I won't interfere, but Marcus? Yeah? Please don't shut me out. Let me be there even if I can't fix it. Something in his chest loosens. I can do that. That night, Marcus sits with Sophie at their small kitchen table, her math homework spread between them. She's struggling with subtraction, getting frustrated when the numbers don't cooperate. I can't do it, she says, tears welling. Yes, you can. Just try again. But it's too hard. Marcus gently takes her hand. Hard doesn't mean impossible. It just means you have to work at it, like Daddy works at his jobs, like you work at breathing when your chest feels tight. Sophie sniffles. Do you ever want to give up? Every day, Bug, every single day. Then why don't you? Marcus looks at his daughter, her eyes so trusting, so full of love. Because you're worth fighting for, even when it's hard. She throws her arms around his neck. I love you, Daddy. I love you too. After Sophie goes to bed, Marcus opens his laptop and starts searching job listings. He applies to 5 positions. None pay as well as the custodian job, but there's something. He also does something he hasn't done in years. He opens his old engineering portfolio, the work he did before life got complicated, and he starts updating it. Maybe it's time to stop just surviving. Maybe it's time to actually fight for the life he wants. 2 weeks pass in a blur of job applications and interviews. Marcus works his remaining shifts at the Riverside Tower with quiet dignity, ignoring the whispers from other staff who've heard about him and Isabel. Isabel respects his boundaries. She doesn't call building management. She doesn't offer money. She just shows up at the park with Sophie and him on Sundays, bringing coffee and sitting on the bench while Sophie plays. They talk about everything except their problems. Books they've read, Sophie's drawings, Isabel's memories of David shared with careful honesty, Marcus's memories of his wife, the good parts and the hard parts. They're learning each other slowly, without the performance. One evening, Marcus gets a call from a small engineering firm. They saw his portfolio online. They want an interview. He goes in his one good suit, the one Isabel gave him that first night. It fits perfectly. The interview goes well, better than well. The firm is small, scrappy, full of people who love solving problems. They offer him a position with a salary that's more than all 3 of his current jobs combined. Health insurance included. Marcus accepts, his hands shaking as he signs the paperwork. When he tells Isabel that night, she cries. Happy tears this time. I'm so proud of you, she says. I couldn't have done it without you giving me that first push, making me remember I was more than just a guy barely getting by. You always were, Marcus. I just helped you see it. But the biggest change comes when Isabel makes a decision of her own. She shows up at Marcus's apartment one Saturday morning, nervous energy radiating off her. I want to show you something, she says. She drives them to a building downtown, not a mansion, not a penthouse, a mid-rise apartment building with a community garden in front. What is this? Marcus asks. My new place. Well, it will be in a month. She looks at him. I'm moving out of the penthouse, downsizing. It's still nice, but it's not empty, not like that glass tower. Marcus stares at her. Why? Because I realized something. I've been living in spaces that look successful but feel like museums. I want to live in a place that feels like home, like life. She takes his hand. I want to be the kind of person who could fit in your world. not just expect you to fit in mine. Isabel, you don't have to do that. I want to. For me, not for you. She smiles. Though I hope you'll visit sometimes. There's a park across the street. Sophie would love it. Marcus pulls her close, overwhelmed by this woman who's learning to strip away everything that doesn't matter to find what does. You're remarkable, he whispers. I'm learning, she says against his chest, from you. 6 months later, Marcus walks into Hartman Enterprises headquarters for the first time as a professional, not a custodian. His engineering firm is consulting on a new project, and he's the lead. Isabel meets him in the lobby, professional smile in place, but her eyes warm when they meet his. Mr. Reed, she says formally, shaking his hand. Miss Hartman, he replies, equally professional, but when they're alone in the elevator, she grins. This is surreal. Tell me about it. You nervous? Terrified. You'll be brilliant. She squeezes his hand briefly before the doors open. The meeting goes well. Marcus presents his ideas with confidence earned through months of rebuilding himself. The board approves the project. As he leaves, he catches Isabel's eye across the conference table. She winks. That evening, Marcus hosts dinner at his new apartment. Nothing fancy, just bigger than the studio, with an actual bedroom for Sophie and windows that let in real light. He's cooking pasta, Sophie helping by stirring the sauce and chattering about her day at school. Isabel arrives with flowers and a bottle of wine. She's wearing jeans and a soft sweater. Her hair is in a ponytail. She looks happy. They eat together, the three of them, like a family that's chosen each other rather than been born into. After dinner, Sophie shows Isabel her latest drawing, a castle with 3 figures in front, a man, a woman, and a little girl. That's us, Sophie announces proudly. Isabel's eyes glisten. It's beautiful, Sophie. You can keep it if you want. I'd love that. Isabel hugs her gently. Thank you. After Sophie goes to bed, Marcus and Isabel sit on the couch, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her. I talked to my therapist today, Isabel says quietly, about David, about letting go. How did it go? Hard, but good. She tilts her head to look at him. I'll always love him. He was part of my life. But I'm learning that loving him doesn't mean I can't love you too. Marcus kisses her forehead. I'm not asking you to forget him. I know, that's why I can do this. She sits up, facing him fully. Marcus, I love you. I love your strength and your stubbornness and the way you see me as a person before you see anything else. I love how you father Sophie. I love that you make me want to be better without demanding I change. I just love you. Marcus's throat tightens. I love you too. I love your fierce determination and your hidden vulnerability and the way you're brave even when you're terrified. I love how you try so hard to get things right. I love that you see Sophie as a person, not an obstacle. I love you, Isabel. They kiss slow and deep, a kiss that tastes like promise and future, and 2 people who've learned the hard way that real love isn't about rescue. It's about showing up, choosing each other, building something together from honesty and work and the courage to be vulnerable. When they pull apart, Isabel is crying again, happy tears. We're quite a pair, she says, laughing through tears. Yeah, Marcus agrees. We really are. A year later, Marcus stands in the community garden of Isabel's building, watching Sophie chase butterflies with Eleanor, who's having a good day and remembering everyone's names. Trevor is there too, talking excitedly about his first year of teaching. He and Marcus have become unlikely friends, bonding over being the outsiders who don't quite fit the Hartman mold. Richard arrives with his new girlfriend, a warm woman who runs a nonprofit and treats Eleanor with genuine kindness. He's softer now, less controlling, learning to let his children live their own lives. Isabel emerges from her apartment carrying a tray of lemonade. She's wearing a sundress, her hair loose, her face free of makeup. She looks lighter than she did that first night in her office, as if she's shed layers of armor she no longer needs. She catches Marcus's eye and smiles. He smiles back. This isn't a fairy tale. They still have hard days. Marcus still worries about money sometimes, old habits dying slowly. Isabel still struggles with her instinct to fix everything with resources. Sophie still has asthma attacks that send them to the emergency room, but they face it together as partners, as equals, as two people who met in the most unlikely way and built something real from the ashes of who they used to be. That evening, after everyone leaves, Marcus and Isabel sit on her balcony watching the sunset paint the sky orange and pink. "Do you ever think about that first night?" Isabel asks. "All the time. If someone had told me then that we'd be here now, I wouldn't have believed them." Marcus takes her hand. "Why not?" "Because I was so convinced I was broken. That grief had made me into someone no one could love." "You were never broken, just hurt. There's a difference." She leans her head on his shoulder. "Thank you for seeing that. Thank you for taking a chance on a guy who cleans floors for a living. You were never just that, Marcus. You were always more." They sit in comfortable silence as the sun dips below the horizon, painting the world in shades of hope. Inside, Sophie is asleep on Isabel's couch, clutching the stuffed dragon Isabel bought her last week. On the coffee table sits the envelope of $10,000 that started everything, now framed with a note Isabel wrote, "The best investment I ever made," because sometimes the most unlikely meetings lead to the most extraordinary transformations. Sometimes pretending becomes the most real thing in your life. And sometimes, when you're brave enough to be vulnerable, when you're willing to see past the surfaces to the truth underneath, you find exactly what you've been searching for all along. Not rescue, not fixing, just love. Real, complicated, beautiful love. The kind worth fighting for. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.